Hello, my beauties. Shakima here. Just stopping in for the reading for the month of April, and this reading will be for the Earth tribe. So that will be for my Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo zodiacs. Okay, this reading will be for Sun, Moon, and Rising of the different tribes. Bear with me, guys. That is me getting live and active. Okay. So, with this being a reading for the Earth tribe, I basically just wanted to do a Celtic spread for everyone, see what the energies are going to be like for the month of April to give you guys a bit of an insight of what to expect, how the transition is going to unfold for the month. If you guys do like my technique, then definitely be sure to comment, like, share if you care, and subscribe. Do be sure to hit the notification bell so that you can tune in and be in the know every time I do these awesome videos for you guys. So I'm just going to set the space for you guys. I'm just going to also try to keep this short, guys, because I have a tendency of talking a bit too much. Okay, I'm just setting the space for us. Right, gonna get our candle lit. I ask that only beings of the highest and purest of vibrations are present to provide me with the insight and guidance needed to be able to relay all the divine messages that are coming through me as a mediumship vessel. I ask that I am utilized as a vessel to be able to relay and convey this information as openly as possible. It is done. Ashe. Got some white sage going, guys. Stuff smells good. I'm actually like my aura. I'm just gonna run that over my aura. Again, it's been a pretty busy day. I've been busy doing readings all day. So I am going to go into this space and make sure that my energy is solely focused on you guys and what is divinely intended for you guys. So, as I mentioned, I'll be doing a Celtic spread for the Earth tribe. I'll also be pulling some energy cards specifically for the different zodiacs within that tribe. And I'll also utilize my angel cards to clarify anything that I'm unsure about during the Celtic spread so that we can get some more clarity and insight from the angelic realms. I'll also be able to pull a message from the universe card for us, as just an overall message for the actual Earth tribe. Okay. And I say for us because I've got my moon and my rising in Capricorn. So I'm also sort of, in this space with y'all, my Earth tribe. So I'm going to go straight into it, guys. If you guys would like to book a personal reading with me, because obviously these are just going to be generalized readings, then definitely do be sure to connect to my website. I'll be able to add the details in the description box. I probably should have done that before I came into this space, but I'll get that done for you guys ASAP. And my website, as you know by now, if you don't, if you're new to the channel, it's www.shakimabrown.com. You can also request a free prayer of manifestation on there. I love to sort of just put some positivity over people's lives, so there is always the option to be able to do so. And also I make my own candles. Okay, so if you guys are interested in purchasing your own candle, then you can always hit me up via my email, that's shakima8@gmail.com, and I'll be able to set the intention for whatever it is that you require your candles for. This particular candle is my ancestral candle. It's great for altar work, just general sort of connection to all four of the different elements, essentially. Okay, now that I've talked y'all's ears off, let's get into it. Okay, so there's definitely going to be some changes sort of coming for you guys. It's almost going to be sort of like revelations, and once those revelations sort of come in, you're going to be forced to make changes because of those self-realizations. That's the one thing that I definitely want to point out in this space for you guys, because for some of you in the Earth tribe, you are going to be going through your solar return throughout the month of April as well. So this is definitely going to more so be for you guys. And also, you guys are also, lending your energy to some of the others that may be sort of leading over into May as well. As far as the Earth tribe, we've got Taurus season coming next, okay? But you're just going to be sort of waking up to some of your unrealistic expectations that were really causing you to be a little bit moody, a little bit aggressive is the word that they're saying to me, and isolated in some ways because of it. And I'm going to say isolated by choice, because I feel as though you weren't doing enough to put yourself out there. It's almost like you weren't allowing for yourself to be open to the outside world. Okay, so that being said, y'all, let's actually shuffle the cards and get into the space for you guys and see what's to come and unfold with this sudden change for you guys. Okay, right. Okay, you guys are going to be learning how to tame that beast within yourselves, learning how to be a little bit more patient, learning how to be a little bit more constructive, learning how to utilize your compassion for others, as well as yourself during the process of your unfolding throughout the month of April. And your patience is probably going to be your strength. Your compassion is definitely going to be one of your strengths throughout the month. You're going to be sort of... interestingly enough, because I'm seeing it like a ball getting stopped. So obviously we're going into Taurus season at some point next month, and it's almost as though, that energy that's like really sort of pushing and stubborn and really forceful, that's going to be sort of reining itself back in a little bit, so that spirit can sort of I guess, nurture what it is that you're trying to create. Okay, so your ego isn't going to be sort of propelling so much forwardly. It's more going to be not stagnated. I don't want to use that. Well, they're saying that spirit's going to put a pause on certain things for you throughout the month of April, so that you can catch up, so that you can mature to that which is already yours, because spirit has already cleared the path for you. What you're trying to manifest is already there. It's just that you may be having some immaturities to the point where you may not be ready for it just yet. Okay, so let's have a little look and shuffle the cards and sort of see, as far as the Celtic spread, what's going to be coming for you guys. Let's have a look for you. Okay, what's coming for my Earth tribe for the month of April, Spirit? Let's have a look. Okay, so with this, a lot of the patience that you're going to be learning has to do with your lack of self-discipline. It has to do with you sort of doubting yourself, you not necessarily giving the situation everything that you have, you kind of just, giving a half-assed attempt at certain areas of your life. And they're showing me career-wise, that's one of the areas. And they're also showing me your family circumstances. It's almost like you've been doing stuff, but you haven't been doing as much as you could to really sort of make changes in those types of areas. And that's to do with you kind of falling weak to certain situations. It's also showing me that there's going to be some stifled creativity, and that's going to sort of be happening tenfold throughout the month of April. Like I said, spirit's going to be putting a pause on certain things for you guys, and again, it's for you guys, not to you guys. So try to not let your ego get disrupted during the process of the unfolding with this. What I can see is that it will bring some beauty to the situation when everything's sort of said and done. But right now, don't sort of allow for yourself to be too stuck. Don't allow for yourself to kind of, be in a place where you are avoiding responsibility. Try not to take on too much of other people's shit in the process, pardon my French, but at the same time, don't block yourself off from your own emotions because you're trying not to take on their stuff. Okay, that's going to be important for you, because your spirit is going to be speaking through you, speaking to you as a vessel, so that you can start to fall into alignment with its intentions for the vessel. Okay, let's have a little look and see what's to come. What is the divine guidance, Spirit? So where are my Earth tribe for the month of April, and what crosses them? Okay, that was very clear. You saw it here. Okay, so For the month of April, you guys are going to be, again, I already sort of called it, you guys are going to be finding yourself at a place where you are emotionally volatile, where you're just moody, and it almost feels as though other people may sort of have a factor to do with this. Either you're going to be manipulating someone emotionally, or you'll be moody because of not being able to express yourself because of somebody else manipulating you. So that's something, and I feel more like this is other people trying to manipulate you, and it's going to sort of affect your moods. You're going to find yourself having mood swings throughout the month of April because of that. And I think it's partially also because you want to sort of find yourself in a state of complete isolation. Like I said, you are going to be withdrawing from certain people, places, and things that were really causing you to be emotionally volatile. For some of you, I do see you sort of, avoiding places that used to sort of trigger negative thought patterns for you because it's linked to past traumas. I see you avoiding those. For some of you, I do feel as though you're just kind of, completely removing yourself from those types of situations where you are having to really kind of be overly protective, because you find yourselves being overwhelmed by the circumstances. And I see you kind of just withdrawing, basically. I see you withdrawing and being a little bit moody, a little bit isolated, and really quite emotionally volatile. You're almost giving up at this point, okay? And it really is for the sake of completing this cycle that you've been going through. This feels like a cycle that you've been going through with yourself. Yeah, you guys are going to be going through a transition, letting go of any regrets, letting go of any baggage that you're carrying, any disappointments from the past. You're really going to be sort of working through some forgiveness with those situations. There has been obstacles to your overall sort of plans, and because of that, it's kind of put you in a place where you're actually giving up. You find yourself being overwhelmed and you're walking away from certain things. Okay. Let's have a little look and see what's in the recent past for you guys. What is in the recent past for my Earth tribe for the month of April? What is in the recent past for my Earth tribe for the month of April, Spirit? As clearly as you can. There we go. Again, that was pretty clear. So in the recent past, you guys have had situations where, things kind of felt like it was really unnerving, like it was really sort of causing you nightmares. You couldn't find a moment of stillness. You couldn't find a moment of peace in your mental place. And it's almost like your mind palace was even being infiltrated as well. And what I will say is that, it's almost like the fact that you had to really sort of call upon faith to persevere through the circumstances of your past situations. It was really quite challenging for you mentally and emotionally. You find it really difficult, and I think what Spirit's saying is that that's where you were investing your energy as well. That's where you were sort of investing your time, and that's how your seeds were appearing to you. But in actual fact, it's actually an investment into the long-term prospects for you. It's actually an investment into more stability, more security for you in a long-term plan. And you were looking at the short-term focus of it. And now you're at the place where you're really sort of, waking up to the fact that those anxieties, those fears, those shadows were not necessarily sort of allowing for you to be appreciative of the moments that you were experiencing in that time. And I think for the most part, with you sort of walking or moving away from that, it is going to give you an opportunity to let go of some of the things that were causing you to be insecure, of some of the things that were basically causing you to be codependent on others, needing for other people to validate your feelings, needing for other people to let you know that you're okay, basically. I do see you being able to come to a place where it's more self-sustaining for you. And I think, throughout the month of April, where you are going to be isolating yourself, I believe that that's what this transition is going to be bringing for you. This time of inquiry that you're going to be going through, that I think I'm going to say this, at some point or another, it did seem quite anxious. It did seem quite nerving to the thought of actually being alone. But I feel like it gets to the point in the month of April where you're now actually grateful for that time on your own, for that distance, for that separation. Away from anything else, because it's actually giving you an opportunity to just become a little bit more open to the changes so you can move past resentment. Okay, let's have a little look and see what's in the near future for you. What is in the near future for my Earth Tribe, Spirit? what is in the near future for my Earth tribe for the month of April. What can you see? As clearly as you can. I feel like I want to stop saying as clearly as you can, because every time I put that out there, spirit just comes in running shit in a muck, okay? Just throwing cards all over the place. Like I have to kind of be out here sort of picking up. It's almost like spirit's making it rain cards on me whenever I say that. So I might just, rein that in a little bit. But this is all to do with beliefs, personally. This is all to do with self-identification, group identification, um, on a whole. And I believe that this situation is all about traditional perspectives, traditional viewpoints, that were really causing you anxiety because you were sort of caring so much more about what other people thought about you rather than what you needed to be doing to make yourself happy. That being said, I'm going to get the rest of the cards. That's going to give us some more clarity to see how everything's going to unfold, because I'm telling y'all, there's like a good few cards. So this is clearly going to be some stuff for y'all. Bear with me. Okay, so hope I got them in the right order. I guess none of it is really the wrong order at this point, is it? So, what I can see for you guys going forward, let me just get all the cards out for y'all, because there's 7. So that lets me know that you guys are going to be going through some real stuff, man. With you guys sort of going through a pathway of the Hermit, which is like one of the major arcanas. Within the tarot deck. So this is like a real big transition for you guys. So I can understand that what the future holds for you guys is going to be like major. Did you guys hear that? Hello, beautiful. There's I'm gonna say this. There is some magic in the air for you guys with this April sort of season. What I'm going to say to you guys are going to be giving into your intuition. Okay, I think that you guys are going to be overwhelmed with what your intuitive messages are going to be saying. Your guides are going to be speaking up. I'm going to say this for some of you that have some self-doubt. It's going to be it's going to be more overwhelming for you. To say overwhelming is going to be an understatement. I see you kind of running away from your potential, from your power in the situation. But if you take a moment and stay still, stand strongly in that moment, because spirit is calling you to purpose in the month of April, guys. And I think that you will be absolutely surprised to see where you are at the end of it. So what I see for you guys in the near future is that you'll be able to get to a place where you're absolutely sort of loving the vibrancy of, the people around you, because during that time of isolation, you're not necessarily going to be having, I guess, you're not really going to be having very many people around to sort of witness the transition. I think that you kind of, it's almost like what they're showing me is that you go into a cocoon, it's like a butterfly effect. You kind of crawl into your little cocoon as a caterpillar, unsure of where you are in life, being quite doubtful of your potential, being quite fearful of your power. And then all of a sudden, you go into that place and you really sit with yourself, you do some introspection, you do some internal work, and you come out really sort of being able to just stand in all the beauty that is you as an individual. And one of the things that I do want to say is that some of the self-doubt that you are having going forward, from what I can see, is because you're still sort of judging yourself based on past circumstances, and you're no longer that person anymore. You've gone through a transition, you've gone through an awakening, and in the month of April, Spirit's going to be asking you to show up as the new version of yourself, show up as all of the, I guess, tests of what you've learned, show up as all of the lessons that you have allowed for yourself to grow from. And it's really it's going to be interesting. I'm going to say this to you because I do see you guys being hesitant. I see you guys being hesitant with the process of this new beginning, simply because you are feeling as though it's an unrealistic sort of expectation of yourself. And it's interesting because I wish you guys could see the magic that's going on in my setting right now. Things keep going on and off and flickering, and it's amazing. But I'm going to say this: keep your lights going, Earth Tribe, because Spirit believes in you. And I'm getting myself really emotional in this space because honestly, Spirit's going to do amazing things through you guys throughout the month of April. And I think what I can see is that, when your intuition sort of shows up, it's really going to be testing you to sort of, how can I put it? I'm gonna say it's gonna be testing you to let all of the BS go, let go of all of the stuff, all of the things that you felt were tying you up mentally, because you were creating these restrictions for yourself. And Spirit saying, nah, you're limitless. Like, don't do that to yourself. Like, I really want to be able to show you the expansiveness of your ability. And I think I'm going to say this, your ego is going to get an opportunity to really be stroked throughout the month of April, because you're going to do the most. You're going to do amazing, amazing things. Anything that you were kind of, hesitant about, you're going to find yourself doing it, definitely, but you're still going to be hesitant about it. So you'd find yourself being hesitant in your mind space to the point where you were procrastinating about it. But Spirit's saying none of that. Spirit's actually going to be, taking the vessel into a whole new place of being productive, of being efficient. Okay. And with that being said, it's more going to be a case of you just being that amazingly beautiful wand that Spirit is working through as a vessel. Okay, because that's what's happening. Spirit's going to be literally using you to create magic and weave magic into the 3D realm. So just be open, guys. Honestly, that's all I'd say. Just be open to it, because it's going to be awesome. Okay, it's really going to be about you believing. That's going to be the main thing. Spirit's going to be testing your belief at this point as well. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. If you are in the Earth Tribe Champagne, what I will say is that you guys are going through some, isolation, because what I did say at the start of the reading is that there's going to be some emotional manipulation that's going to leave you feeling moody, because there's other people projecting their own desires, kind of putting your own wants to the side. And I think you guys kind of just get sick and tired of it. You get sort of losing your patience with the situation. And I think for the most part, when you go into isolation away from some of these people, you're able to come back out and really sort of redefine yourself with a new crowd of people. I'm going to say this. I don't see the crowd coming in straight away. I see it with your situation. What they're showing me is 6 to 8 weeks. So sacrifice that relationship. If you don't feel as though it is going to be serving for you where you are now, let it go. Because when you sort of remove that from your space, from your circumstances, Spirit brings something new in. It's almost like balancing the scales. So once you've kind of, I'll put it to you like this, right? So I've got the two decks. And I'm going to say this, one of the things that they're showing me about this situation is that the person has been a little bit on fear. It's almost like they're not really taking accountability for themselves and how they're showing up in the relationship, and they expect for you to do a lot more of the legwork. So definitely address that with yourself. But it's almost like when you start sort of sacrifice something, leave it in the past, then Spirit gives you something new. And that something is more in alignment with where you are going. It's more in alignment with the new being that is going to be coming into light and life. The one thing that I want to say with that situation as well, because Spirit's making it clear, it is not in alignment with who you truly are. And it's almost like there is a lack of long-term Jerry, like long-term vision with that situation. I think that they've served their purpose. That's the best way that I can put it. Their season has come, and you're now coming to the end of their season. It's kind of every moment, everything, every experience comes with a I keep but I'm gonna say this, beautiful, it never stops. This is why I sort of encourage people to get excited about the process, because it never stops. The more we learn, the deeper we go into that lesson. So if we've learned a lesson on one level, we kind of peel back the layers of it to really sort of find the gem within it. So every time we learn a lesson, it's almost like we go up a notch in that lesson. We go up and up and up and up. We continue to elevate our consciousness. So for the most part, we don't stop. But The positives on the situation is that every single experience teaches you something new, teaches you something different about the lesson that you thought that you learned the first time. Because I'm telling you, the second time that the same lesson sort of comes around, same lesson being the subject matter. So the subject matter might be learning how to value self or learning how to put yourself first in situations. You might be able to sort of do it on one level, maybe in terms of situations with your family, but then you find yourself in a situation with a partner where that partner, their feelings comes before yours time and time and time and again. Okay, because they're a romantic interest, so your involvement with that person is completely different. I'm gonna say this. I think that it's one of those situations where you're working towards a certain destination, right? And until you get to that destination, I think that we want the ship to appear a certain way. I'll put it like that. I think we want the ship to appear a certain way because I'm telling you, from my own personal experience, when I got to a place where I was able to start to communicate with spirit efficiently and effectively, I was like, right, spirit, where's my reward? It's that human nature looking for the instant gratification. It's almost like, well, I did everything that you said, like why am I not getting like what I promised myself was going to come? But spirit made no promises like that to me. That was something that I said to myself, and now spirit simply gave me the tools. Spirit simply gave me the skills, or rather let me know that I had the tools and the skills all along to be able to manifest it as such. Now it's up to me to be able to go and actually, snatch that. Okay, just be open to the process though. There's going to be awesome things. I don't know if you're an earth sign, but there's going to be awesome things, it seems like, unfolding for you guys. Like, so much to the point where you guys are going to be so overwhelmed by all the changes that are coming for you throughout the month of April, man. It is awesome. Damn. Okay, I'm going to look to see what's going on in the subconscious mind. Okay. Right. See, that speaks volumes. That definitely speaks volumes for you guys. Like, you guys are coming to an end of a cycle. You guys are completing that transition of your inner magician. Like, you guys are getting to that place of realizing your power within. You're really sort of, tapping into your resourcefulness. You're no longer procrastinating on shit. Nobody can hold you back at this point. Like, you're past any resentment. You're open to the changes, and you're literally just kind of tapping into that magician and making sure that you're manifesting from that place where you know all of who you are, at least at this point of the journey. And I'm going to say that because, once you sort of get past this point of the journey and you go through another awakening, you learn more about who you are as a being in that setting. For this particular setting, you would have completed a cycle, okay, in the month of April, and you're then going to be able to tap into your ability to just be resourceful, and there's no more poor planning. To be fair, I'm gonna say this. I think that, every time that I thought that I knew something, Spirit just showed me that I really was just acting like a damn fool. Okay? Spirit's like, look, you had a bit of information, assuming that you had all the facts, and you're just gonna try and play me like to say you know how this game works. Nah, like, I run this, okay? So I think for the most part, as an ego vessel, we're always fools, because really only spirit is, the all-seeing. Only source knows all, and at the end of the day, we just like, we got this much info, this much, and that's from our own perspective, because source has the, I guess, the script right for the entire play, and we only know our role and our part in the grand scheme of things. So it's sad, but it's true. Let's have a look and see what's going on in the conscious mind. Okay. See, Spirit keeps throwing cards all over the place. I'm going to go and grab that. Okay, so in the conscious mind, Spirit's sort of saying, be optimistic. Be optimistic about the transition that you guys are going through. Be optimistic about the sacrifices that you'll make. Be optimistic about the restrictions that Spirit will be putting in your way for the purpose of this growth and evolution that you're going to be having. Because when you know a little bit more, you'll be able to come a little bit more enlightened by, understanding more about why spirit kind of put that on pause for you, why it didn't sort of serve you to go down that path at the time. One of the things that they're saying is just be open to letting go of, again, like I said, people, places, and things that aren't necessarily serving of you. So it's interesting, Champagne, that you came in to sort of address that, to say that, you know, you don't really know, like, with the situation as far as that person. Spirit's just saying, like, be optimistic about the sacrifice of letting that person go. Like, consider them to be the sacrificial lamb, to a bigger perspective of Champagne, of a broader expansion of this being. And I want to say this as well. I think that you're coming into your own as a spiritual being yourself. What I mean by this is that I see you. Here we go. I'm doing a little reading for you, girl. I see you actually as someone, you're an oracle yourself. And I see that, you know, with going through these situations where you're letting go of these people that were basically kind of projecting doubt over your space because they don't identify with you. You don't identify with them. You know, they seem like a mismatch to your spirit. And I think because you were around this particular person, it's almost like you questioned whether or not you are who you believe yourself to be in this space. Let them go and you'll be surprised, because it's the holding on to them that is holding you back from that person that you see yourself as. I hope that makes sense. I hope, you know, that will make sense for you depending on whatever the situation is with it. But I'm telling you, the moment you let that person go, because the reality is you guys are here doing like a karmic lesson. Yeah, I get that. I get that, beautiful. But I think that, oh, I know. I think the situation though is that once you let this person go, like, I think you'll realize that there was somebody already waiting. You were holding you back. Do you know what I mean? Like, you were holding you back with this situation. And I think, you know, what I'm going to say is let them go and go through the grieving process. Let them go and make sure that you take the time to, you know, allow for your heart to heal from the situation, so you don't go into another space wounded by that situation and taking that hurt into that space with you, because then you go into it with more baggage and you don't want to do that. But I do feel as though letting go and sacrificing that situation brings you exactly what you want, because you're asking for the right thing, looking in the wrong place. Okay? That's what I'd say to you on that. Damn, girl. Tune in on Friday for the Free Yourself Friday one free question reading, because it will be interesting to kind of see how that unfolds. It's easy to sort of tap into your space. Yeah, no, well, thank you. You were actually quite, yeah. You know, they're saying this is a broken home situation. It's not going to be mendable because, again, just right ask, wrong person. They're not necessarily sort of there to, yeah, they're not really sort of ready or willing, if you will. I think the word that I want to use is willing, because I think that, you know, once they become willing, they'll instantly be ready, regardless of whatever's going on in their lives circumstantially. Anywho, girl, let me get back to the reading space. Because I was trying to keep this, you know, a little bit short, and hopefully I was trying to keep it under an hour, but I doubt that's going to happen. Let's see. I'm going to try and sort of keep the pace going for you guys. Where are we with this? Okay, so let's have a look and see what's in the atmosphere for my Earth Tribe spirit. What is in the atmosphere for my Earth Tribe? What's in the atmosphere? Okay, this is pretty clear. Okay, so you guys are really going to be, I say you guys, but I'm involved too, because this is for Sun, Moon, and Rising, and my Moon and Rising are in Capricorn. So this is going to be pretty interesting. This has been a slow and efficient process. This is what Spirit's saying for the most part, but there will be spiritual recovery. There's been some breakdown in communication for a lot of us. There has been situations where we're going through this transitionary period with certain people. Oh, Spirit's saying this to me as well. Just touching back in on your space, Champagne, because clearly you guys are still over here communicating, even though I said I wanted to get back to the reading that, girl. What I'm getting is that, you know, this particular person, I'm going to say that you might just have to sacrifice the relationship as it is now, because they may learn something from you kind of walking away from the situation, and that may be what triggers their own awakening, by them becoming to by them getting to that place of being willing, not necessarily ready, because I don't think that they're ready yet, but they may just become willing by losing you. Okay, now back to the reading. um there will be sort of a spiritual recovery. There's also going to be a financial recovery as well. That's what the atmosphere is going to be like, for the Earth tribe. Financial recovery from the past circumstances, spiritual recovery from the things that broke you down mentally and emotionally, and the things that kind of really affected your ability to be able to celebrate, to be able to feel as though your home was secure. I think that your home got turned upside down, and those are some of the things that you're going to be recovering from. For a lot of you, I can see that some of these things happen like a really sort of like hasty decision that either you or the other person, I want to say that you, in some cases, the other person made the decision, and in other cases, I see that you made a hasty decision by being triggered by this other person and the stuff that they were saying, because they were just hurting your heart space and you didn't know how to handle it, and you were just like, ha. And it's like, that doesn't help either of you guys. But I do feel like this is going to be a slow and efficient sort of transition for you guys. I do feel like you guys will be, becoming a little bit more efficient in the way that you do things, and that's what the atmosphere is really going to be calling forward for you guys throughout the month of April. So that's not really a bad place to be. And for some of you guys, this is going to be within your career as well. You'll find yourself being a little bit more efficient, being a little bit more conservative, so you're not giving too much, in terms of your work situation. You're actually finding a really good balance where you're taking some time for yourself, where you're sort of, when you're off on the weekends, that's literally just you being off on the weekends. You're just kind of taking that time to rest and recuperate. um, but for the most part, it does feel like you're going to get to that place where you're not so overly committed to your work circumstances as well. You'll be able to find a good balance between your work and personal life. And I think that for the most part as well, for some of you, you'll become a little bit more practical about, your timekeeping and making plans well in advance and being able to stick to those as well, can I just say. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so in the attitude for you guys. Okay, so this is what I see in the attitude for you guys. Even though you're going through this breakdown, even though you're going through this, a broken home situation or broken marriages, for some people, you find yourself again, when I sort of talk about broken home situation, it may just mean that you guys need to sort of break the current pattern that you have, end the current cycle, so that you can move into something that's a little bit more conducive of a functional relationship. But what I do see is that there's a misalignment of values, or has been a misalignment of values, and those are some of the things that you're going to be transitioning through. It's almost like, the loss of the sacrifices that you'll have to make kind of gives you the opportunity to get so many more choices into gear that is more in alignment with you. So many more options are going to be coming to the table because of the sacrifices. And it's almost like, if you have a look, right, he's sailing into all of those opportunities, all of those options. But if you're continuing to look back, if you're continuing to look that way at everything that you're leaving behind, it's almost as though you'll never be optimistic for all of the abundance that's coming to you in this form, and you won't necessarily be able to appreciate it as such. Okay, so the one thing that I will say is know and understand that the things that you have let go of, the things that are still back here that you've had to sacrifice, just know that it wasn't in alignment with you, and spirit is bringing you into something that is more in, what I want to say is, it's more in harmony with who you really are. It's more in harmony. It was very restrictive. You were never going to find yourself being able to achieve all of the things that you wanted to, in terms of the kind of relationship that you want. I think that I'm going to say this, you've outgrown the relationship. It's that simple. You've outgrown the relationship. Those people have served their purpose. And I'm going to say this as well, for those of us that are dealing with work situations, because they're saying, in terms of a work context as well, there's certain areas of the relationships at work where we'll be sort of, expanding as well. We're no longer going to find ourselves being like restricted. We're no longer going to be sort of that yes man, if you will. Yes to everybody. Yes to overtime, even though you don't really have the time to be giving to it, but you feel as though you need the money. Those things, Spirit's going to be bringing so much abundance to you that you don't even necessarily need to be sort of giving more of your energy into that situation. Money's going to find its way to you throughout the month of April. Okay, just be open to receiving. Keep your hand out, okay? And keep your heart open to receiving, because Spirit's going to be bringing you miracles. Trust me. There's going to be so much coming for you throughout the month of April. It's going to be amazing. Definitely, guys, comment down below and let me know. At the end of April, challenge, guys. At the end of April, let me know some of the things that Spirit did bring into your life. Some of the things that you're grateful for that Spirit did actually remove from your space and bring into your experience as a new. And let's see how this whole transition kind of goes for you guys. Okay, I'm going to do it myself as well, because I am, like I said, a fellow Earth tribe. Okay, let's have a look and see what's the hopes and fears for you guys. What is the hopes and fears for my Earth tribe babies, Spirit? Okay. Hopes and fears, guys, is that, okay, I'm going to say this. Hopes is that, this is going to be creating new beginnings that we're going to be happy with, new beginnings that we're going to be able to sort of find ourselves being comfortable with. A fear of this is that, during the process, we're going to have to be backstabbed. We're going to have to find ourselves at a place where we're completely burnt out before we learn our lesson in that situation. And I think that I can understand it from both perspectives. I completely understand that sometimes it takes for us to be forced to actually find our way out of situations sometimes, because sentimentality and all that lot, we find it difficult to move forward. But the hopes and fears is that we will be stabbed in the back, and it may just bring a new beginning into our space. And we would have to walk away from the situation. We would have to walk away from the disappointments. We would have to kind of move away from the things that feels hopeless for us, because some people are showing up to be generous, but they might have their own agendas. They might have their own motives and intentions for that generosity, and because of that, we're having to walk away from it. What I can see is that the choices that we are going to be making or have made hasn't necessarily been, again, in alignment with the true nature of who we are. And the relationships as well have been, I want to say, less than worthy, but I think it was worthy for where we were at the time. I think that it was worthy for how we saw ourselves at the time. But that's coming to an end, and there's actually going to be new beginnings, because we're actually completing that cycle, and that is the end for us. Like, the attitude, some of us will kind of look at the situation from that victim perspective of being completely wounded by being stabbed in the back. But honestly, like, people just showed up and showed their true colors, and now we have to kind of make a decision. What am I going to do now that I know you for who you truly are? That's all. It's not personal. It's just for the purpose of our personal evolution, guys. So, all that being said, let's see the final outcome. Let's see the final outcome for my Earth Tribe, Spirit. What is the final outcome for my Earth Tribe for the month of April? As clearly as you can. See, I really am going to stop saying that, because Spirit just kind of gets really playful. Okay. We are getting to the point, guys, where we are in complete control. We are getting to the point where we are the authoritative over our creating process, over our relationships, over our partnerships. So partnerships being our work, because let's be clear, even if you work a 9 to 5, you are in partnership with that business. That entity is saying, look, I'm going to pay you this much for you coming in these many hours, and it's an agreement. Okay, it's a contract. That is an agreement. So your partnerships as well are going to be getting to a place where it's very much in an efficient sort of progressive mode. It's going to be a slow moving progress. I'm going to say that much. It is going to be slow moving progress. But for the most part, you're going to be very direct. You're going to be very communicative. You're going to be clear with people about what it is that it's going to take for you to be able to continue your relationships with them. And I think at that point, they're going to be able to make decisions for themselves and decide how they want to show up in your experience, because you're like, nah, I'm not settling for less anymore. You know, like, I know my value now. I understand my worth, and I need for you to show up in this regards as well. Like I said, this is going to show up in your work circumstances as well. You're going to sort of learn how to say no to certain things that, you know, you don't really want to do but feel like you have to do. And when we're looking at it from relationship perspectives, again, it's still going to be a slow moving transitions for you, but you are going to be aligning your intuition with more of your masculine energy. So the masculine energy is all about, you know, the action of things, the doing of things, and the feminine energy is that intuition, that deeper inner knowing of self. So you're going to be making sure that you are moving forward efficiently with both of those reflections of yourself in check. Okay, now let's just pull a card for each of the different zodiacs. I don't think that there's anything here that I want to clarify with the angel cards, because I think that that's all pretty clear, to be fair. So I'm just going to move forward and pull a card, an energy card. No, I can imagine. I can imagine. What I would say is, again, I know you mentioned yesterday that you struggle with, you know, meditation. What I'd say is find yourself a nice. I'll actually, again, I probably didn't put it in the video last time, but find yourself a nice feminine meditation to go to sleep to, and you'll actually find, because meditation actually attunes your DNA at a cellular level. So even if you're not consciously aware of what's going on with it, it's actually happening at a cellular motion where your DNA is actually reacting to it. So what I'd recommend is sleep with a feminine meditation. It doesn't have to be guided, because I find guided to be like people projecting things. Even when I do guided meditations, I don't project into people's space. I just kind of guide them to go within so that they can see what their guides have to say in that moment. But just play some feminine sort of vibrations to assist you with attuning to more of your feminine frequencies within yourself, because it's your DNA, and your DNA at this point is overly masculinized, and you kind of just need to reattune things, retweak things within the avatar. I told you I'm definitely going to be coming with a video about, yeah, nope, definitely. Do you know what? Do it for 21 days. Do it for 21 days, because it takes about 21 days for us to break an old habit and to learn a new habit. Okay, so it takes about 21 days for our subconscious mind to sort of leave the old person behind and allow for the new person to come in to being, but we have to be consistent. So if you do it for 21 days, one, girl, you're gonna be super, super feminized. Okay, and then two, you also sort of find yourself in a place where you'll actually, without realizing, you'll find that the old you has evolved without you even having to do anything consciously, because you've already been doing work with your subconscious mind at night, you know. So that's a trick that I'll sort of I utilized it myself, and I'm telling you, I literally just woke up one day and I was like, I know I'm a different person. So then I had to acknowledge it. But best of luck with it, beautiful. Again, do you know what? I challenge you to come back into this space and respond or leave a comment on this video 21 days from now to let me know how you get on, if you're going to be starting the process today, because it'll be interesting for you to see the evolution. I do have a particular meditation that I could recommend. I'm going to actually pin a link to it in the comments below. So after the reading's finished up, double back. That's what I say, double back anyways. So let's go ahead and pull a card for my Taurus babies. What is the divine guidance for my Taurus baby spirits? Right, for the month of April, what do they need to know? So for you guys, you know, you kind of haven't necessarily been acting from your best magician. You know, you haven't been sort of manifesting from that place of your true will. And that's really how you've been showing up so far. Let's have a little look and see what Spirit's going to be doing with you throughout the month of April. Let's just shuffle the cards so we can get some clear insight into what's going to be happening for you guys. Okay. No, you'll be surprised. You guys are sort of going through the process, Taurus, of releasing any restrictions from yourself, and you're actually going to be tapping into that magician by utilizing your love and compassion. You know, the angel of love is going to be sitting with you and allowing for you to sort of go to your inner temple to be able to go through this transformation throughout the month of April. So it's going to be an interesting one for you guys. Okay, so the advice for you guys is the fact that the angel of balance is off when it comes to your contracts. Okay, so there's certain things that you're giving yourself to that aren't necessarily allowing for you to find the balance for yourself, and this is some of the things that I've said to you guys throughout the reading. So what I'd say to you is that the angel of balance is going to be working with you internally throughout the month of April. You know, throughout the process, what I'd say is I'm going to sort of have a little look and see what the card says about the actual sort of meditation for this as well, actually, the affirmation, so that you guys can utilize that for calling upon the angel of balance to assist you in the process, because sometimes we don't sort of really realize when we're acting against our own best interest. So the affirmation for you guys is to just, you know, continue throughout the month of April, my Taurus babies, affirming to yourself that I live a balanced and centered life. As I care for myself, the universe cares for me also. Okay, so that is the divine guidance for you guys. Just continue to affirm that to yourself so that you can, you know, really bring more balance into the space, so that you can learn about the skill and testament of moderation. Okay, because spirit's going to be sort of giving you the will to really be able to manifest as you truly desire, and the angel of balance that's going to be working with you from an internal level of yourself is going to be tested, because you're going to have people ask you to do things that you don't want to do, basically, and you're going to have to learn how to say no, and learn how to be tactful with it, and learn how to not hold guilt for not being a puppet for somebody else's experience. Okay, because you're here living your own experience, so there's no need for the guilt. Let's have a little look and see what is the divine guidance for my Capricorn babies. What is the divine guidance for my Capricorn babies, Spirit, for the month of... Oh, God. Okay, so you guys learn to realize that the path that you're on has no value, and that's because you weren't placing any value on yourself. That's because you weren't sure of your worth. You weren't sort of asking that of the world externally because you didn't have it internally. And it's almost like, how can I put it, man? A lot of you guys were really sort of finding yourselves being manipulated by relationships. You were finding yourselves being I know we just spoke about, you know, the balance of the masculine and feminine energy, but a lot of you were actually being sort of overly masculinized in a lot of different ways, because it's almost like, I'll put it to you like this: you were building up resentment. You were building up resentment for a lot of your past situations, for a lot of your past circumstances, and you didn't realize that it was actually affecting your ability to communicate in the here and now, because that wounded person from your past is still affecting your present situation, and it really is a case of you just kind of, you know, taking the time to nurture yourself and nurse that value that you first place on yourself before you can ask that of the universe and the world externally. Okay, let me actually pull a card anyways and sort of see what the guidance is for my Capricorn baby, Spirit. Oh, let me actually just shuffle. I didn't do a mixing of the bunch, if you will, just so that we can get some actual clarity on things. So let's just do that. Okay, I'm going to say this, guys. You guys are very, very rigid with the energies. That's for sure. Very rigid with the energies. What I do see is that by you sort of going through this process, you will be able to regain control over your ability to manifest the kind of coins that you want, the kind of finances that you want. And outside of just the finances, it kind of gives you back the willpower of not sort of looking at your situation from a victim perspective and looking outside of yourself to say, oh, I envy this, I envy that of that person, I'm jealous of this with that person. You kind of get to that place where you utilize the vibration of gratitude to create more for you to be grateful for, and you actually find that there's other people looking at you and becoming a little bit, I guess, envious of you in that regards. Okay. What I will say as well, let's pull cards to actually sort of see what's going on for my Capricorn babies. What is the divine guidance? Okay, guys. So the cards fall in. Let's have a look. Okay, it's a couple of cards. It is a couple of cards. It is all about looking at your attachment, and allowing for yourself to take a journey with that. And sort of see how you have caused yourself to manifest against your best interest, how you've caused yourself to sort of, how I'm seeing it, it's almost like you've put yourself in a situation, right, where you're not sort of I'm trying to find the words to sort of put it across to you guys, but it feels as though you've kind of put yourself in a situation where you weren't able to appreciate things around you because you weren't creating those alternative possibilities. You were really just kind of almost finding yourself stuck in the situations that you were in, Capricorn. So now you're going to have to really sort of, address the way that you are looking at things and allow for yourself to go on a completely new journey. Okay, I'm going to read that card to you in reverse, actually, the attachment card in reverse, because this is life purpose happening in full bloom. Okay, so let's just have a little look for you and see what is to come. Okay, so instead, Spirit's actually given me the affirmation. Yeah, I've gotten the affirmation for the journey card instead. And the affirmation for that is, I am attracting wonderful new adventures to me. My life is a blessing, taking me to new places, inside and out. Okay, that is the affirmation for you guys for the month of April, so that you guys can actually allow for yourselves to be open to the process as the transition happens for you guys. Okay, now we're just going to pull a quick card for my final zodiac in the tribe, and that would be my Virgo babies. So what is the divine guidance for my Virgo spirit? What is the divine guidance for my Virgos for the month of April? Okay, so Spirit's saying that there's some deception, and the deception is that, things appear to be on. They're saying that basically, how I can put it is that, the you're lying to yourself to say that you don't have so many other alternatives, that you don't have so many other possibilities. You're going with what your ego wants to see, what your ego wants to define the situation to be as far as your romance. And instead of doing that to yourself and lying to yourself about the situation, because you want it to appear like how other people's situations looking, you're not really sort of taking note of what your spirit's trying to tell you about your current situation. You're not really taking the time to connect to your intuition. You just keep kind of, telling other people lies because you want it to appear that way, which is interesting. Because my ascendant, I said that my ascendant's Capricorn, actually. That was my bad. My ascendant's Virgo. So that's interesting. But let's have a little look and see. That's interesting for me as well, simply because obviously I'm a Pisces sun, so my Virgo placement, as in my ascendant being in Virgo, that's like complete opposition. So sometimes my ego is completely different to how I show up, basically. So let's have a look for my Virgo spirit. What's going on for my Virgos throughout the month of April? Let's have a look for you guys. Okay, so there's going to be some stormy warnings ahead because you're no longer lying to yourself. You're letting go of that deception, and you're actually going to be acknowledging that things aren't as peachy fine as you were, trying to convince yourself that they were, as you were sort of telling lies to yourself and other people that they were. You're actually now sort of moving from that place in your heart that is, you know, less than pleased with your circumstances, and you're actually going to be sort of tapping into that inner being within yourself, that core of yourself, if you will, to be able to just move beyond this path that you're on and into more of a blossoming sort of perspective of the path that you're on as well. I'm sorry, my candle's doing the most at the minute, guys. What is the divine guidance for my Virgos? Okay. See, you guys are going to be all tied up. You guys are going to be all tied up, and this is what I said, like, as far as some of the Earth tribe are going to be reacting one way and some are going to be reacting another way, which is why I try to utilize these cards to give us more of an indication of who's going to be experiencing what. So, you know, Capricorn and Taurus are going to be having an easier of a transition with this unfolding in April, whereas you guys will actually see it as restrictions for yourself. You guys will actually see it as, you know, situations where you're going to have to really sort of let go of anything that was really causing heartache and tension to your heart space, because there was a lot of manipulation involved. Either you were the one manipulating someone, or someone was manipulating you, or you were manipulating yourself, to be fair, because in either way that you look at it, somebody, like, even if you allow the other person to manipulate you, you're manipulating yourself in the process. You know the truth of your experience, or at least your spirit does. Okay, so let's have a little look and see what the divine guidance is for you guys, because spirit's going to be working with you guys purposefully throughout the month of April. Let's see what your affirmation is. So your affirmation for the month of April, guys, is I release stuck energy, old habits, and restrictions. My life is opening up. I am free to choose my reality. Okay, and that is the divine guidance for you guys for the month of April. Now, to close out the space for you guys as well, I'm going to be pulling a message from the universe, and I'm also going to be pulling a love and light card to leave us with a scripture to utilize the time throughout the month of April. What is the divine guidance for my earth tribe, sorry, for the month of April, Spirit? As clearly as you can. Okay, attack, pain, fear, judgment, and any form of separation are merely calls for help. Okay, instead of praying for an outcome, I pray for the highest good for all. Let's have a little look and see what the actual guidance is going to be for my Earth tribe. What is the divine guidance for my Earth tribe, Spirit, as clearly as you can? One card if possible. Divine guidance for my Earth tribe for the month of April. Okay, there we go. There is nothing sexier than my authentic truth. Okay, and this is all going to be sort of coming clearer and clearer to you and through you throughout the moon cycles throughout the month of April. Funny enough, we're actually going to be having the pink moon in April, the pink full moon, and that's going to be an intense transition. Interestingly, again, so this is a lot of moon activation throughout the month of April, guys. So you'll be able to sort of come to realizations at the first quarter of the moon, that I find a deeper meaning, and by the half sort of I guess blooming of the moon, you come to realizations that I find a deeper meaning and spiritual growth, and then by full bloom of the moon, amid the discomfort. So you're going to be sort of going through a process of self-realization to know that all of it is a part of who you are, and there's nothing that needs to be judged about it. There's nothing that needs to be feared in it. There's nothing that needs to be questioned about it. Okay, so live in your authenticity, guys, and be open to the process. Okay, let's have a little look and see for you guys. We're going to just finish up with a final love and light card so we can get a scripture and sort of move out of the space, guys. What is the divine guidance for my Earth tribe for the month of April? What is the divine guidance, guys? Gentleness is the path of peace. Seeing everything through the eyes of love. So seeing things through the eyes of love does allow for peace to sort of come into place. Okay, so we've got our card, guys. We've got our one card for the month of April, we have to become still so that we can hear the voice of God and know that with God all things are possible. And this is Matthew 17, verse 20. The scripture is, if you had faith, even as small as a mustard seed, you could say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it would move. Okay, so that's all you need to sort of know. And in order for you to sort of come into that faith, you kind of just have to become still so that you can be one with the voice of God that projects through you. And spend more time outdoors. It will teach you a thing or two about yourself. Okay, and I'm just going to leave it there for you guys and let you know that I love you. I'm sending you nothing but love, light, and positive intentions for the rest of the journey. And until we meet again, guys, thank you for stopping in. Ashe, what will be, will be. Mwah.